Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, What's New with Village Guru. I thought we'd do a quick recap of last month's webinar just to go through the simple report for those of you who haven't yet seen it, partly because it's so quick and easy, and then we'll get into what's new. Some of you may have already noticed that there's a new tab up here on my screen. So, for those of you who weren't able to attend last month and completely understand why that might be, given it was very close to Christmas, we have launched the ability to do or to create a simple report. So what you'll find now when you log in is with the customer details, information that's needed for a customised report is underlined in green. And when you don't complete that information, then the software knows that you're wanting to create a simple report and it will show you that. So it will display this message that says, okay, I've got it. You just want to create a simple report. So you can choose to not put any of the customer's information. I think it's a good idea personally to just put at least a name, just a first name, so that if the customer comes back wanting their report to be customised, you don't have to create the property again. You can just go back and edit. So you can still add your property. So in this case, I've added a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, $600,000 purchase price, $600 a month general service charge. And you can see in My Village, there's payment options, and you can see that the software is still calculating all of the ingoing, ongoing and outgoing costs associated with the village. And when you click generate report, you can see here that the information needed for a customised report is not provided. When you click generate report, what you'll find is that the report that generates is the same as a customised report, but just alerting the customer to the fact that we don't have that information to give them a customised report. So you can see this hasn't been provided and your Village Guru report hasn't been customised because you haven't provided your details yet. If you would like to give us those details, then we can provide an estimate of your age pension, rent assistance and home care package costs, and you should speak to your sales consultant about customising the report. Still has all the information about the retirement village, so all the amenities. It still gives you the checklists. So literally everything else still renders in the report. When it comes to age pension estimates, it will simply show up to the maximum amount of age pension that the person could receive. Obviously, we don't have the information we need to provide a calculated estimate of that, and that's why we invite them to come back to customise their report. And when you go to the summary table, I guess, at the end of the report, you can see that the information that we don't have is blank. So we don't know what their investments are, we don't know what their personal assets are, and that prevents us from estimating the age, pension, deemed income, etc. But we can give them all of the costs, ingoing, ongoing, and outgoing in relation to the property. So for those of you who weren't able to make it to last month's webinar, that's a snapshot on how to create a simple report. Now, on to what's new with Village Guru today. So I'm really excited, drum roll, to announce that we have a resources tab. So you should be able to see this the next time you log in, or perhaps if you've already logged in this morning, you'll be able to, you've already seen this. When you log in, you'll notice that the resources tab actually does a little shake to let you know that it's there. That'll only happen the first time that you log in. It won't keep happening if that's bugging you. So you'll see that we've put all sorts of resources, whether it's to do with supporting the software, so frequently asked questions about the software. For example, what is the minimum requirement for passwords? You know, just really common questions that we get and what the answers are to that. So this is really designed to be your one-stop shop in relation to whatever support you need for the software. You'll find links to our previous webinars. So it might be that you're one of our new users, in which case, if this is your first webinar, welcome. And it might be that you want to go back and watch one of the previous webinars that we've run. So we've got webinars covering, you know, how to compare staying at home with downsizing into a retirement community, or we've got a webinar there on the analytics of buyer and seller behaviour. So that looks at the analytics that come out of the back of the software and how you can interpret that information, as well as the power of payment options. So why it's so great to have different payment options, and probably our most popular webinar is Supersize Your Downsize. So why it, you know, I guess it defies most people's logic, but why it can be better to go for the more expensive, you know, home, the bigger home, the home with the nicer view, the home with the bigger price tag, because of the implications that that can have on pension entitlement and other knock-on effects. So you can watch these webinars at any time. You can, you know, if you're like me, you might watch them in 1.5 speed. They are just the same as this webinar, so they only go for 30 minutes. And obviously the benefit of the recording is you can stop it and start it. If there's something in particular that you're interested in, you can go back and hear it again. So by all means, have a look at those. The other thing that we've started to create is some marketing support. So we know that some of our users were taking articles that I wrote for the Sydney Morning Herald and newspapers like that, and they were photocopying them and giving them to prospective residents, which, you know, to be honest, it's a huge compliment. I love that people think that that information is so valuable and that they want to help their customers to be as informed and as empowered as possible when making that decision to downsize to the retirement community. But it does pose a little bit of a problem in terms of copyright. So obviously for the articles I write for SMH, they own the copyright to those articles, and so photocopying them isn't, you know, it's a breach of their copyright rules. But I guess the other part of it is that when we're photocopying articles, it just, you know, it doesn't look so pretty. And I think, you know, we want to have this information in a way that people, you know, look at it and go, okay, that's really easy to digest. I get it, but also it presents well. So what I've done is I've taken the feedback of people that were really liking those articles and wanting to share those articles, and created a number of articles that you can use. They generate, I'll show you. So let's do Supersizing Your Downsize. So they generate as a PDF, so very similar to the Village Guru report in a way, in that from here you can save that document, you can email that document, or you could print that document, or you might want to do a combination of those things depending on how you're interacting with your customer. I'm also perfectly happy if you're creating a bigger newsletter. You know, this is just a one-pager. If you wanted this to sit inside a bigger newsletter, or you wanted to have a different graphic, I'm completely fine with you, you know, copy, paste, edit, do whatever it is that you want to do to customize it for what you're looking to do. So the newsletter articles are really designed to support the software and that education journey that people are on, to help them better understand the transaction. You know, in this case, we're talking to them about why going for the smallest or the cheapest isn't necessarily going to be the best idea, and why they need to crunch the numbers on what that means. And we do direct them back to you and say they can get a Village Guru report. So if they've got a Village Guru report, they can use this to then go, oh, okay, now I'm going to look at my Village Guru report. Or this might be something that you introduced earlier in the sales funnel, so earlier in their journey before you've offered them a Village Guru report, and this might encourage them to come in and get that report from you. So there's a number of different topics. So like I said, we got these topics as suggestions, and I know a couple of you have sent me other suggestions for topics, and I thank you, and I am working on those, but keep them coming through. If there's particular things that customer, you know, you guys are at the coalface, you've got your ear to the ground, you know what customers are asking, what they're grappling with, and if we can help you to provide answers to those questions, then that's what we're here for, because I'm a huge believer that one person's asking, 10 people are thinking the exact same thing. So these newsletter articles are there to help you and to help your customers along that journey. So rent assistance is a really popular topic because I guess it can be a little bit complicated around when are you entitled to rent assistance in a retirement village versus when are you entitled to rent assistance in a land lease community. So we try and explain that. We're trying to keep the newsletters nice and short. So you've probably noticed that each newsletter is just one page, but you may want to give the customer more than one. So, you know, it may be that they need, you know, the newsletter about rent assistance, but then they may also benefit from the newsletter about supersizing their downsize. The other thing that we've given you, which is not a one-pager, is a series of articles. So these are articles that I wrote. I might just change that page. It's disconcerting looking at myself. It's a series of articles that I wrote across all different publications last year. So whether it was, you know, the Sydney Morning Herald or The Age, whether it was downsizing.com.au, Morningstar's First Links, the Carer's Guide, and we just had a really strong response to them. So you're welcome. Again, you can print this out for yourself. If there's topics of interest, you can read it off the screen if you're wanting to save paper. It really covers, I guess, the broad range of topics. So it's not necessarily specific to, well, it isn't specific to retirement villages and land lease communities. There's everything in there from home care packages to, you know, considerations if someone's moving into residential aged care around whether they should keep or sell their house, assisting people who are going to be low means residents to make aged care more affordable, as well as things like, you know, what are the key considerations if you're looking at downsizing into a retirement village. Whether or not you're a homeowner, that was an incredibly popular, I thought that was quite a simple topic, to be honest. I thought most people understood, you know, the circumstances under which Centrelink think you're a homeowner or classify you as a homeowner versus not. But it was really popular, which tells me that it was, you know, perhaps not that well understood. And probably the other most popular articles we had, particularly around the retirement village space, was how to calculate a retirement village exit fee. So I've broken that down into 5 steps, as well as, you know, looking at payment options, and in particular looking at, you know, should I pay an exit fee or not pay an exit fee, or pay an exit fee but pay it up front, you know, all of those different options that are in the market at the moment. So there's lots of articles in there that you're welcome to, you know, like I said, email it, print it, save it, whatever it is that you would like to do with it. So that's really it from me in terms of what's, oh, actually no, one more thing, sorry. So we get a lot of questions about where prospective residents can go to get great advice about downsizing into a retirement community. And I would like to think that most of you know that we have a panel of financial advisors who specialise in retirement living and aged care advice. Obviously, the Village Guru reports don't provide anyone with financial advice. It's just great information, and we think it takes a lot of headache and heartache out of people working those things out for themselves. So in terms of where they can go to find an advisor, and I believe they should be getting specialist advice. A lot of professionals, whether they're accountants, lawyers, financial advisors, don't necessarily understand the nuances of retirement villages and land lease communities, and there's obviously enormous benefits to people in seeking advice about that transaction. So if you are wanting to, this information also sits inside the Village Guru reports. But if you are looking for a financial advisor for your customers to go and chat to, you can either jump on this link that will show you, you know, their smiley faces, a little bit about them, where they're located, all of those things, or you can ring our 1300 number, or they can ring our 1300 number, and we will connect them with a financial advisor who can help them with that advice. The last thing is just we've consolidated all of the different legal notices, which I know most people have zero interest in unless they're struggling to get to sleep at night. But for those who have an interest, we would just like to make it as easy as possible for them to access this information. So whether it is our privacy policy, and you guys would know that that's also available on a link. So right at the very start, where the customer acknowledges that we are potentially going to need to capture some personal information in order to generate the report, there's a link in that notice to say this is where you can get our privacy policy, but we've popped it here as well. We've popped in our terms of use and also the assumptions, limitations and disclaimer that apply to the software. Obviously, the software can't deal with everything. There are certain assumptions that it needs to rely on in order to calculate things. So we've popped that in there for you if you're so inclined. So that's really it from me. I know it's super fast webinar. We've allowed 30 minutes and managed to get through it in 15. I'd really love to get your feedback, whether you want to turn your microphones on and speak, whether you want to pop something in the chat and give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or, you know, as my daughter does when she really loves something, double thumbs up. Doesn't get any better than double thumbs up in our house. What do you think? Thanks, Mike. If anyone did want to say something, but your mic is muted by me, just pop your hand up and I'll unmute it from my end. Actually, I can just unmute them all, I think. Anne, did you want to say something?
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I didn't know how to unmute. Sorry.
What do you think? Do you think the newsletters will be handy for you?
It's me. Sorry, I'm not sure who it is.
Yeah, I'm just.
Oh, so yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure who's listening or who's currently who you're talking to, but I think it's all fantastic. So I think it'd be really helpful to have it at hand when clients are interested, rather than sourcing it, copying it, finding it, and you know, having it as sort of a third-party source is really helpful.
Yeah, I guess that's the other element to it, isn't it? That that sometimes you read these things, you go, oh, that's a really good explanation of that, or, you know, next time someone asks me that, I'm going to point them to that. And then, of course, you go searching for it and you can't always find it again. So, yeah, that was part of our thinking, is we put all this in one area and then you just have one place to go. Sorry, Mariah or Maria, I might be pronouncing that wrong, but I can see your hand up and I've unmuted you from my end. So if you want to unmute yourself, you should be able to speak.
Oh, sorry, no question from me. Thank you.
Oh, okay, no problem. Anyone else? Lyndon, are you on the line? You normally have some great feedback. No? Well, I'm going to take it as a double thumbs up from everyone then. Look, oh, hang on. I think there might be a little delay on my, hang on, there's a hand up. I've just got to find it. Mike.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I was interested to see that Lyndon might be on the line because he's my sales advisor for us personally, but putting on my business hat, I was wondering if you, and I was going to drop you an email, but let me ask anyway, with the software that you have, can you, when you're using it as a developer of a site, can you put in DMFs other than, like if you wanted to say an unusual DMF because it suits a person's own situation, can you put in a DMF of, instead of say 30, you put 22.7 or something? Is that possible in the way it's designed?
Yeah, absolutely. So the software is customised by village and then tailored to each resident. So we've got, you know, lots of customers who have different payment options, and obviously those payment options are different within that operator. Sometimes they're different by village, and then of course, you know, variations from one operator to another. And you know, across our customers that are using the software, we see everything from, if you like, pure rental style payment options to donation models. So, you know, 100% deferred management fee options, all the way through to options where there's no exit fee at all. Different contracts have different kind of other, you know, bells and whistles when it comes to sharing capital gain, capital loss, refurbishment costs, marketing costs, selling fees, legal and admin fees. So all of that can be customised by village, and you can have multiple contracts, and in fact most of our customers would have multiple contracts per village.
Thank you, Rachel. That's great news. Answers it fully.
Okay, good. Okay. Oh, no questions from, oh, sorry, Lyndon. It's got terrible internet. I think that hand up is just a mistake. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Anything else that we could do to make the software even better in terms of helping you and your customers on this journey? Because we know it's a big education piece, you know, that people go through in terms of understanding it. And I guess our objective is to overcome that most common regret, which is that they didn't downsize sooner. So if I'm a big believer that, you know, if you can give people the information they need, if you can answer all of their questions, they can say yes and make that move with confidence. That's really what this is all aimed towards. So look, if you do think of something, by all means, drop us a line, let me know, pop me an email, give me a call, however it is that you prefer to communicate, text message. Let us know, and yeah, we'll be more than happy to take that feedback. And just remember, there's no such thing as bad feedback. Sometimes people say, oh, you know, I don't want to be critical, but no such thing. Let us know. If you think something's great, let us know. But if you think something could be improved on, that's actually really valuable feedback to us, and we'd love to hear it. So, all right, I'll let everyone go and get 5 minutes back in their day, perhaps time for a coffee. And we'll see you all soon. We have got another very exciting announcement coming in a couple of weeks. I'll give you a little taste. It will be to do with the way in which we present home care package fees and funding. So if you're in a retirement village or land lease community that is delivering or partnering with someone who is delivering home care packages, then that is definitely a webinar not to be missed. It will go out under this same banner of What's New with Village Guru. In the meantime, next week we kind of resume normal radio transmission, where we're back looking at the benefits of payment options. The week after, supersizing your downsize. And if there are any topics that you would like to hear or hear more of, then please drop us a line on that too. Okay, thanks a bunch, everyone. See ya. Bye.